Hello, I'm Graham Jobling from the College of Law in Adelaide. Firstly, I'd like to thank you for being involved in our project. This is our commercial and corporate practice subject working group, and I just want to take you through an outline of what it is that we're looking for you to do. We've provided you with a document, and that document is a mapping document that maps the National Competency Standards for entry-level lawyers to the work that we have students undertake. So you will recognise this is a document, that this is the front page of the document that we're giving you, and I'm going to break that document down into various parts so that you can understand that better. And firstly, just to explain, what do we mean by National Competency Standards for entry-level lawyers? The reality is we are aiming to prepare our students to become graduates and prepare them for day one in practice. So this is day one in practice for commercial and corporate practice. So the document itself starts with our learning outcomes, commercial and corporate practice, and they're the learning objectives that we look to impart on students. And they are informed by the next panel on your document, which is the descriptor for the National Competency Standards. This is straight out of Appendix B, out of the LAPIAC rules, and that's the descriptor there for commercial and corporate practice. Then the document flows on to 3 columns. In that left-hand column, under the descriptor that the LAPIAC sets, they list a set of criteria. So this is the first set of the criteria that they've got listed. So that's the National Competency Standards performance criteria. And what we've done in the middle column there is we've outlined the tasks, the 2 tasks that we have students complete in order to demonstrate competency in those criteria. That next column lists the performance to complete standard in tasks 1 and 2. And you're only seeing a small amount of that at the moment, but you'll see more of that in the actual document. Now we do that by providing students with everything they need within the Canvas Learning Portal. And the Canvas Learning Portal is widely used across many learning organisations around the world, and students have access to this 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So they can go in and work in this portal anytime they want. That's the landing page. On that same page is the subject information that relates to commercial and corporate practice. And you can see then, next to that subject information, there's tasks 1, 2, and 3. And then a multiple choice test is listed and an oral assessment. Now, all of these tasks that we have for students to do are all based on materials provided by subject matter experts, and then they are designed by our teaching, learning and design unit. So in terms of our content, we are very confident that we are meeting the sort of content that is required, and we're also confident in the actual design of the materials that we provide to students. This particular page outlines task 1, Task 1, advising a vendor on the sale of a business. And Task 1 is made up of two activities, Activity 1.1 and Activity 1.2. So I'll just take you through Activity 1.1 because this format is then followed by Activity 1.2 and then Task 2 and then Task 3. So you'll see that the students are advised that they're a law practice and they're acting for the vendor in the sale of a business. And their supervisor has provided them with instructions, and those instructions are provided in the file. And they will be using a Real Estate Institute South Australia business sale contract to complete this. And they'll also need to complete a Word document, draft an email setting out the further instructions needed from the vendor to complete the contract and submit that work. So that's one part of Task 1. You'll see that we provide resources for the students. You'll see there the essential resources are notes, and this is a set of notes around advising on commercial transactions. And we give them links to the relevant legislation. Students are also issued with practice papers. Practice papers are designed to assist them from day one in practice and can be useful, for the first 2, 3, 4 years of practice for them. They have these in hard copy, as you can see there, but they also have links to them here within their Canvas Learning Portal, so they have links to them electronically. And so the resources for this particular activity are listed there. So in business structures, the resources relate to the chapter 1.2, chapter 2, 3, 4, and 5. In the sale and purchase of a business assets, they're the sections or chapters that are relevant. And then due diligence, there's the section there. Students are also provided with a case study. The case study is not graded. The case study is simply a practice case study for them. And you can see that this case study covers the issues and procedures which a lawyer must consider when advising a vendor on the sale of business. And the case study considers typical key concepts that arise in practice. And they go through and complete the case study, or they at least investigate, explore the case study, and they consider the client file for the case study. Then they take a quiz to determine their understanding of the set of facts in that particular case study. Again, this is just practice for them. Then activity 1.2 is the same in that we provide them with instructions, we provide them with resources, another case study, and instructions on how to upload their documents. Now I'm just showing you these because you've got the details of these tasks and activities in your the mapping document that we've provided. And this particular index shows you that for commercial and corporate practice, students actually have activity 1.1, 1.2, activity 2.1 and 2.2, and then activity 3.1. So that's tasks 1, 2, and 3, but you can see that those tasks are broken down into activities. Then ultimately students go on and do a multiple choice test, and that multiple choice test is designed for them to reflect, to do revision, prepare themselves for an oral assessment. All of those tasks and activities are graded as either complete or incomplete. They are not given an actual numerical grade or alphabetical grade. It's complete or incomplete. And once they've completed all of their tasks and activities and completed the multiple choice test with a score of minimum of 50%, they can then sit their oral assessment. And we've given you a list of the questions and answers that we use in that oral assessment. The beauty of an oral assessment is it's designed for the students to demonstrate that the work that they've handed in activities 1.1, 1.2, 2.1, 2.2 and 3.1, that it's their work. They need to demonstrate that they understand it. If they can't demonstrate that, then it's a good indication that the work that they've uploaded perhaps isn't their own work. So that's why we use the oral assessment. The oral assessment is graded, and they're graded on the basis of pass, credit, distinction, high distinction. And so what this comes down to, as far as your role is concerned as a subject working group member, is we want you to ask the two questions, or at least provide us with feedback. Do you believe the commercial and corporate practice subject reflects the realities of legal practice in South Australia as far as possible, and are appropriate expectations of an entry-level lawyer on day one of practice in South Australia? So, assuming that, well, as I've suggested, we're very confident in the content that we're using, and we're confident in the design that we're using. What we really want to know is, if you go back to those national competency standards, are we preparing our students, our graduates, for day one as a graduate lawyer, in this case in commercial and corporate practice? Now, we don't require you to go into great detail. We just need very, big picture. Yes, it does, or no, it doesn't. And it doesn't because what we will then do is pull together all the information we've received from the subject working group members, and we will present that to a course advisory committee, and we may come back to you and ask you for more detail in order to ensure that we're doing those two things, reflecting the realities of legal practice in South Australia, and that our expectations for an entry-level lawyer are correct for practice in South Australia. Thank you.